I'm joined today by Qiao Ma, partner and portfolio manager at Munro Partners. Qiao is among the incredible investors sharing insights at the Family Office Investment Forum today. Welcome, Qiao. It's great to have you with us.
It's so good to be here. Thank you.
Let's dive straight in. So Munro Partners manage global growth equity strategies across long, short, long only, and climate. In 2023, you launched a global growth small and mid-cap strategy, which you lead and manage. Why the decision to launch a global small and mid-cap strategy?
Yeah, so the decision is actually really organic, and we talked about it for years. The first thing is, so Munro Partners, we invest along structural growth trends, and then we do decades of work on these really broad, very long-term global trends. And within these structurally growing areas that we covered and study really deeply, we keep running into these really small, very fast-growing companies that's just fascinating, very, very interesting. So we've sort of started to follow them for a couple of years. And then, so the 2023 and 2024 happened. As a whole, the small mid-cap space relative to the large cap space, the valuation gap became basically the biggest in 20 years. So, a simple way to think about it is not since the dot-com bubble did the small mid-cap companies become this cheap. So you start seeing really fast-growing up-and-comers combined with really low valuation. It just felt like a really good timing to launch a small mid-cap fund.
And how do you go about finding great small and mid-cap companies?
Yeah, so we had a little bit of an unfair advantage because we sort of know who they are. As a structurally growing trends and as a manager that really invests alongside these structurally growing thematics, we sort of know where to look for and what we're looking for. And then I think the second thing that's a little bit also an unfair advantage is, I like to call it, we know what success looks like. We've looked at NVIDIA for decades. We've looked at Microsoft for decades. We sort of know exactly what a successful up-and-coming semiconductor or a successful up-and-coming software company should look like, what their income statement should look like, what their cash flow should look like, what the management team, personality, track record, culture should look like. So we sort of know what we're looking for. And so, when we start a small mid-cap fund, it's actually really organic as a process.
And moving down the market cap spectrum and investing in the faster growing companies potentially delivers higher returns, but with potentially more volatility or risk. How do you manage for this with your investors?
Yeah, so growth investing is always volatile. So for us, it's the name of the game. We've always been a growth investor. The entire Munro investment process, from picking the stock to risk management, the entire thing is built tailor-made for growth companies investing. So we sort of know how to handle growth companies along their journey. The journey is never smooth. They tend to be quite bumpy. So we've had a lot of in-house organic knowledge on how to size them, where to find them, how to diversify it across different areas of interest so you don't bet too heavily on one growth thematics. So we've had a whole system to manage the volatility. And lastly, on the individual stock basis, we also have a very disciplined stop loss process, which we basically use in the small mid-cap fund. So, for the small mid-cap strategy, the entire investment process from stock picking to risk management is identical to the Munro investment process, which really make it, like I said, a really organic process.
And the global SMID universe is large. So from a team coverage perspective, how do you manage for this?
Yeah, so we set up something a bit unconventional. So typically when a large fund manager like Munro Partners started a small and mid-cap strategy, because it's a small cap fund, they tend to be a smaller product. We manage $6 billion across all the strategies of Munro. And the typical way of doing this is to hire a portfolio manager like myself, and I'll go out and hire myself an analyst, and the two of us will just run the small mid-cap portfolio separate from the main team. When we started the small mid-cap, because there is such an organic part of what we do, they're in the areas of interest that we already look at and study, we decided to have the entire team involved. So I have the luxury of running a small mid-cap strategy, but having 13 investment professionals working on this alongside me. So everyone on the investment team have one or more stocks in the small mid-cap fund from day one, and it's still true today. And the outcome of that is we actually started and fully invested and run this fund for more than a year and a half now without increasing the size of the investment team.
Amazing. So the size premium, small market cap relative to large, has proved to deliver excess returns over time relative to the market. Do you see this continuing to persist?
I mean, in general, when we think about, again, we focus on the growth companies, the size premium come from the fact that they tend to grow faster. So a simple way of thinking about this is Facebook, we all know Meta, growing roughly 18% a year, really, really strong. Reddit, which is a small cap holding, is growing 63%. Nvidia, fantastic company, growing 70%. Our small cap company in the high performance compute called Astera Labs just reported is growing 140%. So the smaller growth companies we find, they genuinely grow faster. And that's to us over the longer term. That's why they deserve a premium. But we are at this interesting point in the market. Not only they don't have a premium, they're actually trading at a discount. And that's really precisely why we're so excited about the space.
So good. Thank you, Qiao. We'll have to leave it there and get back to the forum. I really appreciate you sharing your expertise with us today and for being a part of Global Investment Institute's Family Office Investment Forum too.
Thank you for having me again.